morning and good evening, everybody. Today I'm here with Arthur Kononuk, creative director and one of the founders of Tentree. Am I right?
That's right.
Excellent. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Jared.
So let's maybe just start off. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into business and how did you end up starting Tentree?
Interesting story. Well, I guess Tentree was started by friends. So that's kind of the key anchor to the story of how and why things all kind of came together. Friends that were together since kindergarten, or brothers and cousins. There's 5 of us that are related that way. So myself, I kind of always had a desire to kind of be my own creator of things. At an early age, we were really into like making websites for friends and things on like GeoCities, which is long dead now. But that experience of just building and creating, we were really on the forefront with having access to computers, having access to Photoshop if you know how to be sneaky and pirate them, like some students did.
On Kazam?
Kazaa, yeah. Kazaa, Napster, those totally. So just generally very creative and experimenting with new technology when we were young. As a creative person, I got into design. I worked in advertising for a number of years, and kind of through there I learned 2 things. One is that I am a creator of my own vision and my own path, that I can make things that happen in my mind, and second, I can do it for other businesses. And I learned that maybe I can do it for myself instead of for other businesses. So we did a lot of work for really big brands like, your Adidas and Coca-Colas and Vitamin Waters and things like that. And frankly, businesses that I don't support right now, let's say, especially when it comes to things like single-use plastics, for example, and not having a say in who your clients are in the advertising industry. For me, it was kind of a little bit annoying and frustrating knowing that my ideas are helping profit these massive companies. So in the back of my head, I always thought that I could do something myself. And during that time, some friends were starting up this t-shirt business, which they were selling some t-shirts out of the back of their car in exchange for money and planting trees. So it sounded like a fun adventure for me at the time, and definitely a big adventure away from the dark, evil place of advertising. So quit my job there to join my friends and start Tentree, and that was around 8 years ago.
So can you just tell us a little bit about Tentree?
Yeah, so Tentree is an earth-first apparel... Let me try that again. Apparently it's not simple enough to say in one sentence. Tentree is an earth-first apparel brand that plants 10 trees for every item that we sell. We are sustainably focused, so all of the products that we make are from ethical materials, organic materials, recycled materials. We work with partners that are manufacturers that are certified through things like SGS, RAP certification. What else? There's one more thing I want to add here. Earth First Apparel. Maybe I should start again. Give me a second. I feel like I was missing something, but maybe it wasn't.
Do you want me to pull it up on your website?
No, it's
BCorp, that's what it was. Thank you. Yes, the last thing.
Thank
and
you, Katie.
We're top 1% in manufacturing for BCorp. So I was like, I haven't done this. Forgetting all these great things. All right, let's try it again. So, Tentree is an earth-first apparel brand that plants 10 trees for every item that we sell. What Earth First really means is that we care about the earth when that comes to the products that we make, the people that we work with, and the planet. So on the product side, we're using sustainable materials, organic, recycled. On the people side, we're working with certified factories. And then on the planet side, we're certified BCorp. And we're actually going to be ranked top 1% of manufacturers of all B Corps. So we're super stoked about that as well.
What does that actually mean, top 1%?
So your rating of manufacturers that you work with. So when we're talking about the certifications, the workers' rights, the equal pay, all the kind of elements that factor into your manufacturing score within B Corp, because I think there's 4 or 5 different scores you can get on.
Yeah.
Get our manufacturing scores in the top 1%.
Wow. That's an achievement.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're the top 1% in anything in life, I think you're doing pretty well. There's a lot of things I'd like to be the top 1% of.
Totally.
So one thing that struck me when looking at your products is that you guys have a lot of products. Now, there may be many different reasons why you specifically have a lot of products to offer. I guess I want to know, though, generally speaking, from a product development perspective, why do brands add products? What is the motivation behind adding additional products to a brand?
I mean, ultimately, it comes down to generating a profit for the business and generating growth. So most of the time, that's where the addition comes from, is looking at your top line and saying, well, if we add 10% SKU more to our SKU count, we could potentially see an increase in revenue from these styles generating X number of sales. So typically that's how it is when you're trying to meet your yearly sales goals. That's one way to do it. Obviously, you can take the same number of SKUs and just get more of them and sell more of them. But generally, when you kind of reach in ways the ceiling of what you think you can sell with, say, one style, then you think, okay, well, if we added an accessory for that,
right,
could we see a 20-30% bump?
Yeah. Yeah. So what additional SKUs for you guys? So you started out T-shirts. What has done really well for you ultimately?
Yeah, I think since the beginning, we have some shirts that have by themselves, like, I've planted over 1 million trees, like
really?
one graphic.
Wow.
Specifically.
Did you design that graphic?
Maybe. If I did, I'm not getting royalties directly for it.
That wasn't in the deal, eh?
No, I made a bad deal. Yeah, we have it's the tree line T-shirt, which you probably see all the time. That one sold easily over 1 million trees worth.
Wow.
And then that comes in a lot of different forms.
So that's 100,000 T-shirts.
Units,
then.
yeah.
Units, yeah.
Yeah, well over that for just a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Hoodie would be the same.
Wow.
But typically the styles of items are those, like T-shirts and hoodies, comfortable clothing, and then next in line are more they're more new additions would be things like headwear, backpacks, tend to sell really well, especially online, because you don't have to try them on. They fit most people. You kind of know what you're getting when you buy a hat. They perform quite well.
So if we think about the stages of the product life cycle, introduction, growth, maturity, and decline, your core products, I guess, being T-shirts and hoodies and things like that, where do you guys think you are, in this whole idea of a product life cycle?
I think it just depends on the product category you look at, and it's difficult to say, in what regards. Like in Canada, maybe we're in a different place than we are in the States versus internationally.
Yeah.
Things like hoodies and T-shirts, I think that's potentially in the Canadian side of things, probably getting maturity to decline kind of stage, just because, like I told you, we've sold hundreds of thousands of units. So exactly. So then it's looking into the U.S., looking into Europe, different markets. So in Europe, for example, it's just like it's new, so it's at the baby steps of getting into that market. So there's a ton of opportunity there for that product category. I think it varies for us based on where we're talking about, Canada versus US. Canada, we've been since day one, so a lot of people know us from Dragon's Den, and there's kind of a lot of reciprocal kind of effect that's had in terms of just optics for the brand and familiarity over time. The US is new, so we're still kind of breaking in there, and there's a lot of untapped opportunity when it comes to the product. So there's still, like, we're barely even at our maturity stage in the US, not even close.
Yeah. Oh, that's excellent. You guys sell tangible products. Everything you sell is something we can touch and feel. What do you see are some of the advantages of selling something tangible versus selling some kind of service that, you can't take home, you can't taste, you can't engage with in that way? Or maybe what are some of the disadvantages?
Well, it's a great question, actually, because this year we're doing both. We have digital products now, but to answer the question on physical versus digital, I guess it just depends on what side you're personally on. I think at least for me, when it comes down to the goals for the business, our goal is to plant 1 billion trees by 2030.
And where are you at?
We're at 43 million, I think I looked today, or just over 43. Um, Almost 5% of the way there.
Yeah, you got a bit of
We got-
ways to
we
go.
got a way
but
to go.
43 million trees.
It's a lot of trees. Definitely should be celebrating about that.
No kidding.
It's a lot of trees.
Wow.
Where I was getting at is this idea of how do we get to 1 billion trees? I don't want to be a part of creating 100 million T-shirts to get to 1 billion trees. So from the physical versus digital, I'm definitely more on the digital side. Especially when it comes to what we're doing. Can we plant more trees without selling more T-shirts is kind of like the long-term goal. But
is that because you're viewing the T-shirts as like environmentally destructive in some way or something?
I would say, I mean, you're creating something that doesn't necessarily need to be created. Like, I mean, this is definitely like a moral, ethical question.
Yeah.
But there's enough clothing on the planet right now.
Yeah.
You could shop for probably years with recycling what we have and not buying a new shirt just because it looks cool.
Yeah. Not that you'd want people to stop buying your shirts.
Well, the idea is if people are going to buy something that they need, hopefully Tentree is their first choice because it's a sustainable choice that supports the planet. That's the idea. Less so of, buy this new item because we want you to buy it because you'll look cool.
Yeah.
Buy something that you need and you're going to keep, hopefully it's a sustainable product. Better if it's Tentree, that'd be great. But yeah, my personal perspective is like thrift stores have lots of clothes. We could probably survive off that for a few decades. So the benefits of the physical side of products, I think probably one of the bigger ones is like it's free advertising. In a way. It's not free, it's because they're paying you for it.
Right.
Someone's paying you to wear your logo on their body.
Yeah.
So huge benefit there that you don't get with the digital side of products. I mean, obviously there's ways to get around that. I think TikTok is an example that you see all the time because they put their little watermark in the bottom corner of videos that show up on other platforms.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same concept, but digitally it can be done. But I think that there's a kind of intangible value that you get with a brand, like a relationship that I personally don't think I've felt with a digital company or service, and that's that feeling of like a belonging or feeling about being a part of a group, where you get with a brand. It's like you're wearing a badge that represents your values. Where I don't really feel like I've had that in a digital experience yet.
So you talk about your guys are selling digital products. Now you haven't really very clearly explained what that is, because that is. I guess I'm trying to imagine how does a clothing company move into a new product SKU that's digital? What are you guys doing?
Great question. I would be interested to hear what your guess is there.
You know what my first thought was that you guys are selling images for people's computer desktops.
That's really good. Okay, so I mean that's very close.
Is it really?
We were talking about. We have some really great photographers on our team, and they have amazing presets for their photo filters, basically. So we were talking about selling photo filters as a digital product. Very close, and I still think it's a great idea. But no, we're selling Tamagotchi.
What is Tamagotchi?
I'm just kidding.
I don't even know what that is.
I thought someone would get my joke. So the idea.
I'm sure someone will get your joke.
Tamagotchi, digital trees. Basically, what we're selling are offset packages. So it's a new program that we launched this year for Earth Day. It's called Climate Plus, and the idea is that you can purchase an offset package that will equate to an activity, a relatable activity with your lifestyle. So, for example, if you're someone who really likes avocado and toast, and you have 30 avocados a month, you can offset your binging by buying I think it's like a $5 Climate Plus package. It's real, that one.
$5 for 30 avocados a month.
I don't know if the number of avocados is exact, but the idea is you're offsetting an activity, whether that's offsetting a flight, international flight, offsetting a road trip kind of thing.
Wow.
Offsetting your Netflix binging, your door deliveries, things that you do that have a footprint that you can offset, and it can be as small as something like digital streaming, or something bigger like taking an international flight. So that was the first step towards digital products, and it is very kind of one-to-one. It's like you're buying you're buying the trees.
Yeah.
But we have talked about.
Do you make money off of that?
So what we're looking to do is kind of a longer answer to that question is creating it's called our tree program, and this is our traceability program for our tree planting software. And what we're looking to do is really fund the ability to develop this back-end software to allow deeper traceability to see where your trees are planted. And if I'm getting too far off on the question here, just let me know. But along the 8 years of starting and running this business, we've had a lot of people ask us, they say, it's great you're planting trees, but
where
are you really planting them? I think it was in Google, we were typing in what does 10 tree, how does, and seeing what the autofill thing would be. And it still is does 10 tree really plant trees?
Right.
And it's like, we think we do a good enough job, but it's good that we have to strive to always be better, and show our customers that it is happening, and get them as close as they can to the trees without physically going there and touching them. But we want to really start investing in this program to build traceability of our supply chain with our trees specifically. So doing things like GPS mapping, drone mapping, tracing it through the blockchain, and having it all kind of recorded a lot more officially and transparently.
Right.
So this program is a step towards that direction and building that program. So there's percentage of the fees go towards supporting that program. Yeah,
that's great. When we look at the products that you launch, or maybe your brand, you have the early adopters and the innovators who are buying, right away, and maybe whenever you launch that new thing, they're always there. How do you treat those people differently, or how do you communicate to them differently than those who are, just finally getting their first 10 tree product? Or
it's interesting. It's a great question. I think one that I think about all the time, not just me as someone running a business, but how other companies treat me and know what my customer profile is.
Yeah.
Like, I try and pay attention to if I buy something and my friend is am I getting the same email? Am I getting the same discount?
Yeah.
Because a lot of that stuff kind of happens behind the scenes with brands, especially D2C brands.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, we have a couple things that we do and are able to do thanks to our trees, which is interesting.
Okay.
So every item that you buy comes with a token. You can go and register that token to see where your trees are planted. It's not to the GPS drone map level that I was describing.
But it's to a region of a country type
exactly,
of thing?
Yeah. We have the planting site and some photos and some background of the site there. So you can go and register that, get that information. As a user, you can keep track of the number of trees and tokens that you have over time. So for the customer, that's great. They can see the forest that they've built. Some people have hundreds of trees because they do it as like a family too, which is really interesting.
Wow.
And they'll have their kids' stuff and their stuff, and they've got like a family forest, which is really cute. But the other side of it is that we know this person has planted 250 trees. They register their trees 25 times, which is it's a lot. So the interesting thing is the difference between someone who's purchased a product and someone who's registered a code.
Right. Because
any brand can say, you've bought 200 items from us over a course of 10 years. Amazing, you're a great customer. But the extra layer that we have is that they took that extra step to look at the tree code, register it, and claim it as their own. So we treat those people a little bit differently than the others. So basically, they're kind of like our VIP list. They get early access to product. They get they're on a list of I guess you call it like decision makers or influencers or kind of behind the scenes questionnaires and surveys. We seed to these people and get their feedback, so they help in ways drive some decision making on new products and get their input and their voices heard, and they get early discounts and things like that. So it is our VIP, but we have layers of the VIPs based on how committed they are to the brand versus just someone who bought an item because they thought it was cool.
So I guess the tree planting is a big motivator for a lot of your customers.
I would, it's speculation to say yes, but we in the early days, I remember oftentimes there are people who would just buy things when the new season came out without even looking at stuff. They would call our customer care team and say, yeah, just give me like 10 or 12 things. I don't care. You pick them for me. I just want to plant trees. Yes. They just want to plant trees. And I've heard that so many times.
Wow.
And then another element that kind of validates that for me is a product that we have called our mystery bag. And the mystery bag is, I think it's still 50 trees per bag.
Yeah.
Basically, you get 5 items at a discount, but it's a surprise in what you get.
Oh, really?
So people like surprises, obviously, but it's definitely like taking somewhat of a risk. You don't know what you're going to get, but it's our best-selling product.
Wow.
Next to the T-shirt that I was talking about, this sells better, but it's not technically one product. It's a group of products.
Right.
And people don't know what they're getting, but they do know that they're getting 50 trees, and that I think is the thing that gets them super stoked.
That's incredible.
And they'll just kind of buy it because it's an easy way to build your forest.
I know this company that they help companies get Google reviews, and for every Google review, if you're part of their brand, you plant a tree.
Oh, cool.
And the motivator is the tree.
That's rad.
Yeah. So very similar.
Lots of reviews.
Very similar concept.
He's setting up some fake accounts
people are like, if you want to plant trees, just give us good reviews. Because for bad ones, we're not planting trees, that's for sure.
Yeah. So anything below 3 stars.
Exactly,
No tree.
So when you're going to launch a product, how do you figure out if it's going to work or not? Like that people might buy it? Do you focus group? Do you test it? I don't know. What do you do?
I think today's world, things change so fast, and between now and last year, things are continuing to change. But lately, I feel like the right and only way you should be making new products is by asking your customers. Mm-hmm. We have all of the tools at our discretion now to go directly to our customer and start a conversation about what they want versus just guessing. I think guessing is it's ignorant in today's world, and it's very wasteful as well for making things that people don't want. So something as simple as going on Instagram and starting a poll, would you buy this or not?
Right.
Is probably the most simple and underrated thing that I think a brand could do.
Yeah.
The problem is with tools like that, they change based on how the app will prioritize your algorithm and how it shows up in the feed.
Right.
And now you've got bots that will just spam vote and do things that'll ruin the accuracy of it. But I think there's still merit to the idea of like using social media as a tool. Maybe you don't use the story votes, but you're finding a way to just go and ask your customers. And
so that's a great way for you to understand if something might be successful or not.
100%.
There's no surefire way, but it helps. Gives you a metric.
Yeah, the other way a lot of people do is just market testing with digital ads, click through. If you're just running an item to try and get add to carts or get signups, so you could run an ad that shows a product, whether it's photoshopped or an actual photo of the prototype, drive it to a landing page and try and either get signups or pre-orders that gauge your interest. Then you can use that as a metric to make like place an order against, still taking a risk because you're not, people's minds change after time. But if you can show them the product, you can show them the price, and maybe it's like out of stock, so they don't have an option other than sign up to a wait list.
And then you go and manufacture it.
Yeah, but it's not really asking people what they want. It's just showing them something and saying, would you buy this? Versus, what would you want? You're my customer. You tell me. We'll make it together. And the goal there is just to minimize making wasteful things.
Right. And I guess if you get that community involvement from your ambassadors or your fans, they're more likely to buy because they feel like, they were a little bit a part of it.
I think it has exponential power. You feel like you are a part of the brand, like you have put your fingerprint in the brand. By giving your opinion, for one, being involved in the process makes you feel like an insider. Like you have special privileges or powers with the brand, and then that in turn creates word of mouth. Because
Yeah.
everyone likes talking about the awesome things that they do, and if they've had a part in creating a product, and they can say, I voted on that, that's
they chose my design,
exactly,
or whatever it is. That's fabulous. Yeah. That's great. Well, Arthur, it's been great chatting with you. I think this is some excellent information that you've given us. Super helpful and really enlightening to understand a bit of the process that Tentree goes through, and how you guys work to understand your customers and work with them. I appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you. I appreciate having me here. So I'm excited to see what the future will hold.